Fraser's grandma, okay, she's a G, but for the rest of the season, she's a vegetable. Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show. Hello if you're new. So today's video is going to be a discussion on the scammery that was season 2 of Euphoria. I hope everybody is doing as well as can be, and I really do hope everybody is being as proactive as possible in supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. And if you're still on the lookout for some resources, I've linked some in the description. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on my commentary. I'm always up for a chat, I'm always up for debate. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, give it a dislike, no hard feelings. And if you really like this video, consider subscribing and helping your girl out. So season 2 of Euphoria. By the time I upload this would have been around about a week from the finale. I had kind of been feeling a bit sus of this season. Honestly, from the very beginning, I was not satisfied with that opening. Yes, I enjoyed Nate's face being pummeled, but I wasn't entirely satisfied by that opening. And as we progressed, yes, it was entertaining, but it was cheap drama. And after the end of that ridiculous finale, I've come to the conclusion that, Sam Levinson has scammed us. He really has. And that's not to say that this season was bad. I enjoyed myself. But when we're comparing it to season 1 and season 2, the differences in quality are very apparent. Obviously, season 1 is what made this show the phenomenon it was. It was critically acclaimed. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an amazing, new, exciting show. It did have its faults, but in my opinion, it deserved all of the praise that it got. So for this season to come out almost 3 years later, they've had almost 3 years to put this show together, and this is what they bring out. I have a bone to pick with you, Sam Levinson. And I feel like a significant chunk of Euphoria fans feel this way. Maybe there's still a few of you in denial. I know there's always going to be the people that ride for Sam Levinson. But I know deep down, everyone knows it felt like something was missing from this season. So let's talk about it. So the first thing is just like the storylines. The storylines were very incoherent this season. It was entertaining, but it was giving cheap drama. There was times where it was honestly giving Riverdale. The whole Cassie and Nate storyline, that was really giving Riverdale. It was giving Betty and Jughead 50 Shades a great addition. It was giving that level of cringe sometimes when Nate and Cassie were interacting with each other. There was even some times where, dare I say, the Riverdale episodes were better written than some of the episodes in this season. And I feel like there's no excuse considering that this is a more concise season. You literally have less to write and you just decided to be this lazy. What really led to my susness of is Sam Levinson scamming us out here was that the fact that there was not really a bridge of season 1 and season 2. There was a lot of telling us instead of showing us via Rue's narration, which I felt was a bit cheeky. Love triangles were literally the driving force of this season. I feel like that's pretty telling of the quality when, the bones of your season is based on a cheap love triangle that is so fucking predictable, basic, and done 1,000 times before. There was also a lot of filler and debris, montages, flash forwards, flashbacks, visions that didn't really give us any important information. Like, for instance, Fraser's grandma, okay, she's a G, but for the rest of the season she's a vegetable that we don't even see. So did we really need to see that, or did you just not have anything to write? Now, how many times does Rue need to tell us that Nate's dad fucked him up and Cal's dad fucked him up? How many times do we need to hear that? I think we get it. And even with Cal's backstory, again, it was just a waste of time in my opinion. It didn't really give us real juicy information. Oh, he had a crush on his best friend and they kissed, but he decided to stay with his pregnant girlfriend. That really wasn't a juicy storyline in my opinion. And we also didn't actually see how Cal's dad fucked him up. So I'm really surprised why people ate up that scene so much, because it was so basic. He had a crush on his best friend. Let's feel sorry for this predator now. What? And then also Maddie's storyline with her being a babysitter, and the mother of the child being creepy. That didn't really go anywhere. So was that just an excuse to have some creepy stuff? What? And that didn't really develop Maddie's character either. So it was just a waste of time. So ultimately, that storyline would serve no purpose. I love Lexi's play, but they really dragged that shit out. I feel like Lexi's play could have been 1 episode, and it should have been 1 episode, but Sam Levinson decided to stretch it out for 2 episodes. Why? How many times were we at Rue's dad's funeral? How many times did we hear Ruth say that speech? Like that whole finale episode, Sam Levinson was really just telling the editor just to throw whatever in that, throw cat dancing in that, throw this, throw that in there. You didn't give a fuck. Just make sure it hit 60 minutes. It dragged out the whole Fesco Ashtray finale situation, which I think was absolutely stupid and a cop out. I heard that Sam Levinson changed the script a day before, and it shows. Ashtray going on a suicide mission with the SWAT team does not make any sense. I saw some discourse saying, oh well, he's had a rough upbringing, he's a survivor, he does what he has to do. What part of being a survivor means going on a suicide mission? That doesn't make any sense. He literally could have taken the rap. Him actually killing Custer didn't make any sense, and in my opinion the only reason why he killed that drug dealer is because he made a direct threat on Fez's life. Custer was not a physical threat. So Ashtray killing him didn't make sense. Him threatening him hitting him would have made sense, but killing him didn't make sense. Him playing dead to then wake up and kill a SWAT police officer didn't make any sense, and then when the gun is on him, he's looking scared. It didn't make any sense. If you're going to kill Ashtray, okay, but at least make it make sense. In my opinion, Ashtray would have just taken the rap. And if they wanted to get rid of him, they could have just got rid of him by putting him in juvie. Fez would have been devastated that he was separated from his brother, and we could have gotten that instead of that performance. Because I'm sorry, the acting in that scene, when Fez was like, I killed this motherfucker, I burst out laughing, honey. I'm sorry, they did all that. It's not getting the Emmy, honey. Not that episode. Laurie disappeared. Kat's storyline evaporated. McKay went missing. The mess that was thrown together to make this season, I suspect, is because Sam didn't bother to make a script, and nor could he be bothered to wing one. I'm just going to make a skeleton of a storyline, and I'm just going to chuck some random shit in there to distract people, like these montages and storylines that don't really go anywhere. The whole love triangle situation, everyone's going to be so invested in these love triangles, and if I write 1 or 2 really good episodes, no one's going to care about the trash. Sam Levinson literally said, look over there. That's what he said. And ultimately, we were all going to watch it. I was going to watch it. And he knows that. He knows that we're going to watch it. And I personally believe he didn't have a script, because Sam Levinson can get away with that. I'm hearing, some of these scenes were improvised. He's got a good set of actors that can hold their own with limited direction. And I believe that's what happened. He winged this whole season. He couldn't be asked to write it. He could get away with doing the bare minimum. And that's what he did. So, beyond the storyline, obviously, the character development was lacking this season. The only times where we saw real development was with Rue, Lexi, and a bit of Cal. For everyone else, I felt like it was a bit stagnant. We saw some glimmers of, Ethan getting some fun. But everyone else, in my opinion, was pretty stagnant. I feel like Sam really relied on people's acting talents. For me, there wasn't clear direction, and I believe that it is the actors that made this season rather than Sam. I feel like maybe he was burnt out, maybe he was doing other projects, and he said, you know what, hey HBO, it's still going to put that check in my account, so, I'm just going to do the bare minimum, and these actors are going to prop me up, and they did. Zendaya definitely has earned an Emmy nomination, and I think Cassie may have as well. I definitely prefer the character development approach of last season, where we kind of focused on, no more than like 2 characters per episode. I feel like this season was very fractured. They focused on everyone, at like 5-minute intervals, but it never actually led anywhere. We never got to, okay, we're focusing on everyone, but by the end of the season, they've all been developed. It was just all very lazy this season. I feel like there wasn't really a conclusion to any of the characters. We kind of just got Rue saying, oh, well, this and this happened for the rest of the school year. But we didn't see anything again. And that kind of just adds to my dissatisfaction of this season. I also feel like specifically Cassie was used as the scapegoat of this season. She was the comic relief. She was the whore that we laughed at. She was the target. And I feel like Cassie was an easy target for Sam Levinson to say, I can't be asked to write another critically acclaimed season. What are people going to eat up? They're going to eat up Cassie going after Nate and being trifling. And you know what? I'm here for the drama. I'm always here for mess. But I do feel like ultimately it was cheap. After a while, it was just like, wow, Cassie, Sam Levinson is really doing you dirty. I think maybe that's just me because I had hope for Cassie. I did not see this coming. People saying, oh, well, I saw it coming because, she's a little bit loose. But I personally just feel like Cassie's character was just used because Sam didn't have anything else to offer this season. So Cassie was an easy scapegoat. We saw great acting, but again, there wasn't really any development from Cassie. It was just her being more desperate. And ultimately, it was just a recycled storyline that we've seen before. I think it actually would have been a more interesting storyline to see her actually explore celibacy and self discovery and self worth. I feel like that would have been a better storyline for her, but obviously that means we would see less of her tits, and obviously that's a problem for Sam, so that never would have ran. But yeah, I just feel like Cassie, I enjoyed the storyline. Don't get me wrong, I was here for the mess, but I just feel like Cassie was the scapegoat of this season, and it was very evident. I feel like the reveal was a gag, but ultimately the clash between Cassie and Maddie was anticlimactic. After the reveal, I was hoping she was going to beat her ass. It didn't happen. Then it didn't happen the next episode. Then they eventually had the fight. And yes, Maddie slapped her, but it wasn't really satisfying. And I feel like it was noticeably feminine and toned down. It was like fairies fighting. I've seen teenage girls fight and they scrap like it's UFC, and I wanted to see some UFC. And I've noticed that a lot with Sam Levinson, the way that he feminizes things, even things that don't need to be feminized. The same way he let Fez go crazy on Nate's face is the same way he should have let Maddie. And the thing is, he even saw a montage of Maddie doing serious damage, but yet when it came to Cassie, they toned it down, they feminized it, and I was a bit dissatisfied. Also, Jules didn't really have a storyline this season. I also feel like they glossed over the fact that she was a victim. It's noticeable that we weren't seeing her through the lens of a victim. Her sexual behavior was just kind of glossed over as, her being a whore. The very distinct glossing over of the fact that a lot of these men that Jules has slept with have been predators who are preying on her, have been most likely older men, engaged with people, and there's been a few people that said, well, Jules lied about her age. In my opinion, even though yes, she lied, Jules' age looks suspect. Let's say for argument's sake that she was 18 at the age of consent. Why is an older man seeking out a barely legal girl? And then you have to add on the identity of her being trans as well, who are a very vulnerable group that is very susceptible to being taken advantage of, and who are personally seeked out to fulfill the fantasies of twisted individuals. And that has been routinely glossed over in season 1 and season 2. I was hoping it was going to be addressed this season, and the fact that it wasn't, I was kind of like, but not surprised. But then I just kind of feel like with Sam Levinson, I'm not sure if he would treat it sensitively anyway. So maybe it's best that he left it alone. Obviously, I feel like you guys already know I hated the Cassie, Nate, Maddie love triangle. I also hated the Jules, Elliot and Rue love triangle. I kind of feel like, yes, Rue and Jules were always going to have a, rocky relationship. But I feel like the breakdown of the relationship didn't need a man's input. I think it's very interesting that Sam Levinson gave us a queer couple and put a man in it. Very interesting, Sam. Not really sure what Elliot's purpose was, to be honest. I feel like he was just, I'm not even sure really, other than, him just coming between Rue. They had this scene where they alluded to him and Rue going to have this relationship, possibly beyond taking drugs together. That never materialized, and then they just used him in the final episode to take up a good chunk of the script that Sam couldn't be bothered to write. Elliot, you're going to give us a concert instead, because I can't be asked to write 5 minutes. I'm going back to bashing Sam again. But yeah, that is really cheeky, because it's not even like, they played his song and we were seeing other people. They literally played it 5 minutes straight. So that means Sam Levinson really didn't have any material to put in those, that 5-minute concert. The cheekiness. It's the cheek for me. But yeah, I feel like this is my rant over. Like I said, it wasn't a bad season. I actually enjoyed the season. And what I will say that I liked about this season was that there was noticeably less nudity. And I would like no nudity moving forward. The best episodes this season were when there was no nudity. I have seen enough of Sydney Sweeney's boobs. I've seen enough of them that I can now live my life in peace. I can now live my life in peace. They're great boobs. I got to see them a lot. And I don't really need to see them again. And it's the fact that there was meant to be more of Cassie's boobs for me. It's the fact that there was meant to be more nudity than there already was for me. And for me. And for that, we have to praise the Me Too movement. Because when the actors were complaining about the nudity, Sam Levinson knew he couldn't argue. He knew he had to take that shit out straight away. He thought he would try it, but he knew when people complained, he had to take that shit out straight away. The Me Too is definitely doing things, honey. And a lot of people were praising him, saying, well, you know, he listened to his actors and he took out the excessive nude scenes. Like, of course he's going to take it out. He literally has no choice. But in my opinion, they shouldn't have been in there in the first place. Like when Custer was shoving in Faye to the vent, she was meant to be naked. Like, why? Me moving forward, I really don't think that we need nudity. It doesn't really make it realistic. I feel like it is creepy. Before, I was a denier when people be like, oh, it's creepy. It's, you know, stimulating a certain type of illegal material. I was like, no. And then when I was watching it this season, I was like, oh my God, I can see it now. And for time they're not even doing that for shows where we're depicting adults, I personally don't think it's necessary for shows where you're depicting teens either. Another thing that I liked of this season was actually Cal's performance. I absolutely hate his character, but you know, that's his role. And I feel like he played a really good villain. I didn't really care for his backstory. I didn't really feel sorry that he didn't get to be with his best friend because he chose not to be. I thoroughly enjoyed Ashtray beating him. His performance when he came out to his family was really good. I felt like he was just such a prick after that. I just felt like, what a fucking asshole. I was like, well done. He really did that. He really did that because I absolutely hated Cal after that. I even felt a bit sorry for Nate after that. People were cheering him on saying, yeah, he really told his family. I was like, ew. Am I the only one who saw that as him being a narcissist? Like, that was just wholly unnecessary. He could have told his family that he was leaving in a respectful way that didn't traumatize everyone and leave piss on the floor. I don't know. That's just me. But my favorite part is when he went to jail because he was really like, please, I'm begging you. Oh, to jail. Jail, dead. I'll take either one. Like I've been saying, I didn't hate this season. I actually think it was a decent season. I would give it a 3 out of 5. But overall, it was giving Riverdale. It wasn't really giving Euphoria. It was giving Riverdale crossover, I have to say. And in conclusion, I believe that Sam Levinson either wrote the script in one day or didn't write it at all and just maybe just like gave log lines, wrote a skeleton script, or didn't really write one at all and just had people improvise. Those are my theories. But overall, Sam is a scammer and I fear the scamming will continue. I fear that Euphoria will only go downhill. The next season is coming out in 2024. I really don't know how that's going to work with everyone supposedly being at high school. Maybe they're going to age people up. People are going to be in college now. Maybe. I think it's time, to be honest, since no one's at school anyway. I don't really have investment enough in this season to care what happens next season because it's kind of like this season really didn't go anywhere for me to be like, oh, next season, you know, I guess it's only to see if Ashtray is alive or not, which I don't think he is. I mean, it's such a popular show. As someone who does reactions and reviews, I'm going to have to watch it. Even if it does go on and it gets another season, I think it's going to be interesting to see Sam Levinson's direction. Is he going to actually write a script next season? Is he going to write a proper script next season? Is he actually going to invest in the script? Because this season 2 gave me he couldn't be asked. He couldn't be asked about this season. He didn't care how it ended up. As long as he got like, you know, 1 or 2 good episodes to secure an Emmy nomination, he was good. That's what this season felt like. And will he invite other writers to the room? I think it's time because I feel like there's certain areas where Sam Levinson tries his best to capture, but he doesn't. He's really good with Rue and addiction, and families and stuff like that. But there are just certain areas. There's just certain areas where he falls flat, and it's very obvious. And I feel like he would benefit from a writer's room, and I feel like he should hire a writer's room. I feel like if he doesn't hire a writer's room for next season, it's because he's greedy and he wants to keep all the money for himself. If he truly cares about this show, next season is going to be a great season, or we're going to get a writer's room. But yeah, I would be interested to hear from you guys what you thought of this season, because I think it's going to be a mixed bag, and I think it's interesting, you know, me uploading this like a week later, because people have had time to kind of like process things. Because I've seen, like, you know, some people, you know, say, okay, now I've had time to process, it actually like wasn't that great. To hear from you guys, did you like it but not like it as much as last season? Did you think it was about the same, or did you enjoy this season better? I'd be interested to hear from you guys what you thought about the season, what you thought about like the creative direction, what you think of, you know, Sam Levinson's input, the characterization. What did you think of my commentary? And yeah, let's have a little chat. This is the end of the discussion. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you have, don't forget to hit my notification button on so you know my next video is dropping. I'm still trying to get to 4K subscribers, honey. I'm so close. Help me get there. Help me get out. And yeah, I'm going to be doing a bit more stuff than I usually do on my YouTube channel this month, so stay tuned for that. If you want guaranteed weekly videos, sign up to my Patreon. You can also send me direct requests on there or commission a video on there. So yeah, until next time, guys. Bye.